December the 17th, 1903, Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. The morning wind is freezing and harsh. It is blowing at 27 miles per hour over the cold barren sand dunes. Two brothers stand nervously next to a strange, fragile machine. It is made of raw spruce wood, simple muslin cloth, and heavy bicycle chains. The world's top scientists and respected engineers have officially declared that heavier-than-air flight is absolutely impossible. They firmly believe human beings will never conquer the sky. But these two stubborn brothers are about to prove the entire world wrong. They flip a simple coin. The younger brother wins the toss. He climbs onto the bottom wing. He lies flat on his stomach, gripping the wooden controls. The small noisy engine coughs, sputters, and then roars to life. The handmade wooden propellers spin rapidly. The machine slowly moves forward along a wooden tracking rail. Then, an absolute miracle happens. The machine lifts off the frozen ground. It flies through the turbulent air for 12 historic seconds. The world will never be the same. How did two unknown bicycle mechanics achieve what brilliant, wealthy scientists could not? To find the real answer, we must go back to a quiet bicycle shop in Dayton, Ohio. Wilbur and Orville Wright were not wealthy men. They did not have fancy college degrees. They did not have massive government funding or university laboratories. But they possessed incredible, unmatched mechanical minds. They worked together in perfect quiet harmony. They fixed broken bicycles all day to earn a modest living. At night, they dreamed only of flying. They read everything they could find about the science of aeronautics. They closely studied the tragic deaths of early brave glider pilots. They quickly realized the main problem was not just building a strong heavy engine. The real problem was control. A flying machine needed to be carefully balanced in the turbulent, unpredictable air. They watched local birds fly for hours. They noticed how birds twisted their wingtips to turn and catch the shifting wind. They decided to build a machine that could perfectly mimic this natural movement. They called this radical new concept wing warping. They built small experimental kites to test their ideas. Then, they built much larger gliders. They needed a special place with strong steady winds and soft sand for safe crashes. They chose the isolated, miserable dunes of Kitty Hawk. For 3 harsh, lonely years, they camped in a tiny wooden shack. They survived terrible ocean storms and massive swarms of aggressive mosquitoes. They crashed their fragile gliders over and over again. They broke wooden ribs and tore their cloth wings. But they never stopped trying. During one frustrating summer, their new glider performed terribly. It would not lift properly. It spun wildly out of control. They were completely heartbroken and exhausted. On the long depressing train ride home, they almost gave up their dream forever. They thought man would not fly for another 1,000 years. But their stubborn determination saved them. They realized that all the published aerodynamic tables were completely wrong. The established, respected science was totally flawed. So they decided to rewrite the laws of physics themselves. They built a small wind tunnel inside their dusty bicycle shop. It was a simple wooden box with a noisy fan. For many long months, they tested hundreds of different metal wing shapes. They carefully measured lift and drag with homemade tools. They discovered the true hidden laws of aerodynamics. They also realized that no one had ever designed an effective aerial propeller. So, they invented one entirely from scratch. They built their own lightweight aluminum engine because no manufacturer could make one light enough. They put all the pieces together. This brings us directly back to that freezing morning on the sand dunes. The first flight covered only 120 feet. But they flew 3 more times that historic day. The longest flight lasted 59 seconds. They had finally conquered the air. They packed up their broken machine and went home. They fully expected the world to celebrate their massive achievement. But the response was complete, absolute silence. The local newspapers ignored them. The government refused to believe them. The United States military officially rejected their invention without even looking at a single photograph. Ordinary people thought they were crazy liars. But the brothers did not care about public fame or immediate wealth. They simply wanted to perfect their flying machine. For the next 2 years, they flew in a small, quiet cow pasture in Ohio. They learned how to turn the machine smoothly. They learned how to fly in full controlled circles. They built a practical, highly reliable airplane. Finally, the skeptical world was forced to pay attention. In 1908, they separated to prove their invention to the globe. Wilbur took a new airplane across the ocean to France. He flew before massive, stunned crowds of European royalty and skeptical journalists. He made elegant, sweeping turns in the sky. The French people were absolutely mesmerized. They treated him like a visiting god. Meanwhile, Orville took an airplane to a military base near Washington, D.C. He flew for the top generals of the United States Army. He broke every single endurance record. He flew for over an hour. The military leaders were completely astonished. They finally realized this incredible machine would change warfare forever. But this massive triumph was quickly followed by a terrible tragedy. Orville took a young military officer up for a demonstration flight. Suddenly, a wooden propeller shattered in midair. The aircraft lost all control. It plunged directly into the hard ground. The young officer was killed instantly. He became the first passenger to die in an airplane crash. Orville was severely injured. He suffered a broken leg, broken ribs, and a severely damaged back. He spent months recovering in a painful hospital bed. He would suffer from chronic, terrible pain for the rest of his entire life. Despite the tragedy, the brothers became massive global celebrities. They started a profitable airplane manufacturing company. But their peaceful lives were soon destroyed by greed and jealousy. Rival inventors started copying their unique wing warping system. The brothers were forced into fierce, ugly patent wars. They spent years fighting in tense, angry courtrooms to protect their hard-earned invention. They sued a famous aviation pioneer named Glenn Curtis's. The constant, bitter legal battles took a massive physical toll on the older brother. Wilbur became exhausted and deeply stressed. In 1912, he contracted typhoid fever. His weakened body could not fight the disease. He died at the young age of 45. Orville was completely devastated. He had lost his best friend, and his brilliant partner, Orville, eventually sold the airplane company. He retired from public life. He lived a quiet, lonely life in their hometown. He watched his fragile, wooden invention evolve into massive metal bombers and fast commercial airliners. He lived long enough to see airplanes drop the terrifying atomic bombs on Japan. He saw airplanes break the invisible sound barrier. The simple machine they built in a bicycle shop had completely transformed the destiny of the human race. The age of aviation had fully arrived. But as airplanes made the world much smaller, they also made global conflicts far more devastating. The flying machines would soon become terrifying weapons of absolute destruction. When the entire globe plunged into the darkest, most brutal war in human history, the United States desperately needed a ruthless, brilliant military commander. They needed a man who could lead massive, unstoppable armies across Europe to crush the fascist empires. How did a highly controversial pistol-wearing general become the most feared warrior of the 20th century? We will uncover that explosive story next. If you love stories like this, please like, comment, and share this video. Subscribe to our channel to unlock more amazing stories and explore the untold secrets of legendary American icons.